everybody, it's Tito Capote and we're back with another video. Very different video from usual, which is why I think I'm going to post it in between the days where I usually don't post, just to I don't know, I wanted to do something a little bit different, and now having gone to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Regionals, I thought, hey, why not do something a little more Yu-Gi-Oh! Related, and something that I haven't done on the channel, but I think would be really cool, because, I don't know, I think I'm a decent player, I'm not horrible. I did pretty okay at the regionals. I didn't top, but for those of you who know regional stuff, I went three and I went X3, so that means I lost three and then won the rest, which got me out of the top cut. But I don't know. I played heroes. It was cool. Anyway, actually no, I think I left during the last match because my friends wanted to go, and I was like whatever. But so I lost. I guess I don't know, but I lost three times and then whatever. Then dropped out. But anyway, this was the deck that I actually, the deck that I used was a little bit different, but this is what I think would have done a little bit better there. And it's something that I play at my locals and I top consistently at my locals. So if you want, this is sort of like a more, I think, competitive build of heroes. Again, I'll for the expensive cards, I'll give you like more options of what you could play instead, because I know like people don't have money, and I'm one of those people, dude. Like all these cards that you see, this is basically the only deck that I've put money into for the whole time that I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh, which is different than a lot of people. I do build different decks, but I started topping at my locals and used store credit to get cards, and then I pulled good cards because my luck is kind of crazy. And and with that, I got the money to pimp out my hero deck, and also my live twin deck, which I'll probably do a profile of but this is like, if you guys want to do well at locals for sure, or if you guys want to like try to play in competitive like regionals and whatever, I think this is a really good start for heroes. If you're like me and like go heroes, because this deck is my childhood, and it's the reason why it's my favorite. Like this deck is um it's my favorite for sure, and that's why I put so much money into it. That's why I put all this effort into it, and I think I did a pretty good job. You might think differently, and if you do, that's fine. In the end, this is my own. This is my own personal take on the deck, right? This is the way I like to play it, which could be completely different from someone else. You could go second heroes. You could do whatever the hell. It doesn't matter. You do you. Yu-Gi-Oh is a game where you can, like, it's a customized, you can make your own deck in any way you want, and that's one of the coolest things. But anyway, let's get started with the main deck. So first, 3 copies of Stratos. So in the regional, I played 2 copies of Stratos, and I thought that was stupid afterwards, because Stratos is insane, especially because of the decks prevalent in the format. So usually you don't need your normal summon to do anything, your normal summon like whatever, and Stratos is one of the best baits in the game, besides Vion, because people think Vion is better, but Stratos a lot of the time gets you more, because you do have more heroes in your hand a lot of the time, whereas Vion, you can do the same things, but there's more points of interaction and more hand traps that can hurt you. For example, Stratos, Vion sends, to get your play started, Vion sends Shadow Mist to the grave, or Malicious, or whatever. I need to have another piece in hand. If you do send Shadow Mist, you could, Skullmeister isn't really played in the game, but you can call it by, you can get Ash with the Stratos too, but there's just a lot more points of interaction, and I think that's why Stratos is better than Vion. But again, that's my own personal take. You don't have to agree with me. And sorry for I'm recording with my phone because I don't have a fancy camera. I'm a poor YouTuber. Anyway, 3 Stratos, because Stratos is busted. I'm starting off with the core because the core is important. Also, one thing I forgot to say. The people forget, but Stratos has 2 effects. So one, when he's summoned, he can add a hero monster. That's what everyone knows. Here, Stratos is the hero monster. He's the Rhoda. He's Stratos. He's the original guy. But the second effect actually comes up a lot. So if you have more than one hero monster on the field besides him, or one other hero monster, he can actually destroy a spell and trap card. And it doesn't target. So your opponent has to respond to it. Uh, when the effect is activated. And a lot of people don't know, one, that it doesn't target, and two, that it destroys spell traps, unless you're actually like a good Yu-Gi-Oh player. But if you go to locals and stuff, no one's gonna know. No one's gonna know that this thing can destroy spell traps. So if you're later on in the game and you already have a bunch of hero monsters on field and they just like have set cards, you could literally use Stratos to just pop the set cards, force a reaction out of your opponent, and like if they don't have anything, then you just kind of win. It actually came up in regionals when I was playing against Eldritch. They had a bunch of set cards, and I still hadn't used my normal summon. And I summoned Stratos, and I used the spell trap pop, and it actually won me a game. So it's pretty good. That's why I play Street 3 Stratos instead of 3 Vion, which I've seen people do, but it's kind of weird. Then for the next card, a 2 Vision Hero Ferris. So what this does is it discards a hero monster and puts a Vision Hero to the spell trap card zone. Usually it's going to be increased. No, it's always going to be increased. It's never going to be Vion. If you have to do flipping, oh my gosh. So one thing that happened to me in locals one time is I activated Ferris and I didn't realize that I had increase in hand, but you already resolved the effects. So you have to put Vion in the flipping spell and trap card zone, and that was the dumbest thing ever. Oh my gosh, it was so funny though. Anyway, 2 Ferris, it's your combo starter a lot of the time. Fusion Destiny is at 2, it's no longer at 3, so it's not nearly as consistent. Just open Fusion Destiny and win the game. That's why I think Stratos is also good at 3, because it gets you to your Ferris, and honestly, I don't want to play 3 Ferris because I think you can do with 2 Ferris, and it's searchable off Stratos, it's searchable off Shadow Mist if you have to. It's basically it's I don't think it's necessary at 3. Although if you want to play 3 instead of, this is a 43 card deck, so I literally added 3 cards that I don't think are extremely necessary, but are very good, and two of them are like consistency boosters, so it sort of evens out. Yeah, anyway, 2 Ferris, because Ferris is good. Play starter, and honestly, a lot of the times you can use it as an extender at the end of your turn if you haven't gone through the Vision Hero package. So if they Nibiru you and you still have gas, and if you have Ferris and another hero monster in hand, you can go for, and you have to, if you haven't used Shadow Mist, you could still go for the Liquid Soldier and Sunrise play, which actually came up at regionals a lot, because they're ready for DPE, they're ready for like big boss monsters and whatever, but they're not ready for an OTK next turn, you know. So it's 2 Ferris, because Ferris is good. Then 2 Vion, 1 I don't want to play 1 or 3 of this. 1 because it's a play starter as well. It's a really good play starter. I think it's comparable to Stratos, but not as good. At least right now. Maybe if there's new hero support that does funky stuff, then that'll be better. Then Vion will be better, and I'll be playing 2 Stratos, 3 Vion. But you can get to it off of Ferris, you can get to it off of whatever, and it's a really good normal summon because it searches you Poly. But most of the time you want the Stratos. Most of the time you have a way to get to Poly, or you don't need Poly because you have open Fusion Destiny. Usually I use the Poly Searcher as a backup. Or if it's off Ferris, which you're already searching for it. And it's not good to see 2 of these in your hand. I really hate it when I see 2 of these in my hand, because then it shuts off the Ferris play, and that's just annoying. Which, again, you might play 3 of, but I just prefer to play 2. That's just me. 2 Malicious, because it's at 2. Dude, if I could play 3 Malicious, that'd be insane. I know all you people. I know all, but oh, I can't even, man. Ugh. I wish this card said you can only summon hero monsters for the rest of the turn. If it did, I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy with that. But it doesn't, so it's at 2. What it does is when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it, summon one from the deck. Which is really good, and really, really good, and kind of, like, it's such a simple effect. It's such a simple effect, but it does so much. And it does a lot in decks that aren't heroes, but in heroes, it's kind of just insane. Then 1 Denier. 1 Denier because it's kind of a brick. If you like, you can use it to do other stuff, but like, honestly, it's 1 is perfectly fine. You can do it off Fusion Destiny, you can search it, you can do whatever. I don't play more than 1 of these. Like, please don't. Anyway, what it does is when it is special summoned, or when it is summoned, actually, sorry, you can put a Destiny hero from your banished graveyard or deck or hand to the top of your decks. That means, what does that mean? Then you might ask, like, why is that good? And that's because it makes it a third and fourth malicious in the deck. Because when you banish malicious and then summon malicious, you could use it for like poly, you could use it for link material, you could usually you summon this off of something, like special summon from the graveyard, usually off Cross Crusader, or you just have it because of Fusion Destiny, or like you use it for poly or whatever, because you want to get into DPE. But anyway, it's basically putting malicious back every turn that you can summon it, which is most turns because you have Cross Crusader, because you have Liquid Soldier, because you have that, and because you have its own effect, which is the second effect of this card, is if you have a Destiny hero on the field or in the graveyard, you can special summon it from your graveyard. Although the effect to shuffle to put back to the top of the deck is once per turn, the effect to summon back is once per duel, which is really weird to me. I thought it'd be the other way. Like, honestly, no, I understand why they made it once per duel, but you know, if I wish they didn't. But anyway, that's and those two are usually your Fusion Destiny targets if you do open Fusion Destiny. But I recommend saving Fusion Destiny for the end of the turn. And baiting out any negates, baiting out anything, and then when you're sure your opponent's got nothing, then you Fusion Destiny and start your combo. Which heroes can do now, which is crazy, because I remember playing heroes when I first started, like in 2020, and they could barely do anything. Two, Shadow Mist. Shadow Mist, it's not a start. It kind of is a starter in some ways if you have mass change or if you have a way to get it off the field. But or if you have Ferris, it's insane if you have Ferris because it just guarantees a Dark Claw if your opponent has, well, it's basically Dark Law if you open it with Ferris. Not all the time, but a lot of the time it is. And it's just an extender for later on. So if you have a way to get your second Vion later in the game, it just gets you a search. It thins the deck out. I think it's really good. I wouldn't play 3 because it's not a start. It's not really a starter. It's not. It's just an extender, and it's a good extender for sure. And it gets you mass change, which is really important. So when it's special summoned, it gets you mass change. When it's normal, or when it's sent to the graveyard, you can get a search. If you could use both of these effects in the same turn, that'd be insane. But unfortunately, everyone hates me, and they don't want to give me good hero support. One increase. You might think, wait, why aren't you playing 2 increase? That's a brick. I don't think you need the Ferris line anymore. I don't think it's necessary to win. It's good for. Don't get me wrong. It's insane. Like it's one of your best starters. But because of Fusion Destiny, because you can get your play started with just Vion, because you can get your play started with Stratos, because you can get your play started with a lot of things. I think 1 increase is better. I don't think it's not the end of the world if you see this in your opening hand. Literally at the regionals, for some godforsaken reason, like 90% of my games I opened increase, and most of them I ended winning most of my games in regionals. And I played against meta decks. I played against Brave, not Brave, well, yeah, Brave, the Adventure and Prank Kids. I played against all the crappy mean stuff that's just unfair, and I won a lot of games because it's decent. If you know how to play the deck, it's really good. If you don't, then it's not. One Adjusted Gold, because this is basically just a free recovery play. You search this at the end of your turn, or if you open it and you drop it at the end of the turn, it basically clears the field. It's really good against Branded as well, because although Mary Jade banishes once every, like, for, it's basically twice per turn, but it's technically once per turn. Once you get that banish out of the way, you can summon a Dusted Gold, you can activate Bane's effects and clear the field, and then clear the way for an OTK, which is really cool, and it's really easy to do. A lot of people don't save the called by or don't save the ask for this unless they have an extra, because it's just an extra play that you can do, and it's really good. It's 2 cards in the main deck. One of them is a very hard search, one of them is just gets you into your combo most of the time. Most of the time you have Ferris, most of the time you have a Fusion Grave. It's barely ever dead, and if it is, you're losing the game anyway. Unless it's the start of the turn, then it's always like whatever. But 1 Plasma. A lot of you, I was going to run D-Force going into the regionals, but after practicing, I saw that D-Force is more of a is more of a win more card a lot of the times. If you usually if you can win by D-Force, you can win by other means, but it's just a lot more resource intensive to do with D-Force, and it's just like extra, you know. It's just something you can do extra, which is like not always good. I decided to cut it, but Plasma in itself, it's really good. Uh, it's a skill drain for your opponent, which a lot of decks can't play against, and the combination of Plasma and Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is really good because the biggest problem about Plasma is that he has the 1900 attack, right? He's really low statted. He's very puny for all those like big dragon hands he has. You know, 1900 attack does not indicate you have big dragon hands that can do dragon things. But you know what? That's just what it is. But anyway, Plasma is an insane card. You can search it most of the time. You do not want to play two because why would you, man? Why would you? Then one Liquid Soldier. This is basically so you can go into Absolute Zero, but most of the time you're using it just to get Sunrise out and get the draw two and get the draw two off of Miracle Fusion the next turn as well. I use this as sort of a resource engine because every time he's used as fusion material, you get to draw two, discard one, and every time he's normal summoned, which is just basically once, you get to summon back from grave. So it is an extender, it is a starter, it is it digs deeper in the deck, and this deck wants to dig. This version of Heroes wants to dig deeper in the deck to get your mass changed, to get more cards that you will get into later. But digging deeper is very good, and a lot of the times, and there's a line with Vion which I'll show in a bit. I'll do like combos and stuff. It'll be fun. It'll be fun, not con. I don't even know if that's a word. But anyway, this gives you one card, like sort of not optimal combo, but it uses three summons, gets Sunrise, Liquid Soul, Absolute Zero, sorry, and DP on the field if you have Fusion Destiny. If not, then whatever. But at minimum, if they don't ash you, it gets you Sunrise, Vion, and or not Sunrise. No, not Vion. Sorry, Sunrise and Absolute Zero on the field, which is cool. I think it's good. It's not the best, but it's if you have no other option, it's really good. Then one Honest Neos because this card is searchable and because it wins. Everyone who knows the deck is going to be like, damn, does he have Honest Neos in his hand? And if you do, then you're smiling. One Nibru, because we're playing Crossout Designator in this deck. Which I'll explain the reasoning, but this is just a cross-out target. And also, it comes up. When you draw the Nibiru, it tends to come up. For some strange reason, whenever you draw the Nibiru, your opponent always summons more than 5 times without a negate. It just happens. It's just how it goes. Then one Ghost Ogre. This is just a hand trap lineup, so I'll leave it here. My camera. Anyway, one Nibiru, one Ghost Ogre, one Bell, and then 2 Ashes. So this is the hand trap lineup. It's not too much, but it is actually very effective. Ash I used to play at 3, but then I decided to cut it for other things. I also played Ghostwell and Haunted Mansion at 2, but I decided to put the Ghost Ogre in after I went to regionals, specifically because Ghost Ogre kind of hits Increase and hits most of your plays. Hits Cross Crusader, hits, Increase. It hits Vion, can't get you the Polymerization if he gets Ghost Ogre on his first effect. Ghost Ogre actually kind of hurts the deck a lot, which is really unfortunate because the adventure package is kind of a thing. Ash hurts everybody. Ash is insane. It's always been insane. It will always be insane because searching in the game is too good. And then Ghost Bell is really good in this format, and it doesn't stop you so much. It does stop you. It stops your DPE. It stops your everything, and it's just really good to have insurance against it because if they stop your Cross Crusader, sometimes it does end your plays. This isn't the best of decks. I'd say maybe tier 2. But it's my favorite ever, so I'm going to keep playing it till the day I die. Then one Called by the Grave, because Called by the Grave, this is really good when you draw it. The reason I play it, literally if you're playing any combo deck, play Called by the Grave. But I like to play it because you can also cross out the Called by the Grave. And cross out the Called by the Grave when they Called by the Grave your very good card that wins you the game. It's kind of good. Then 2 Forbidden Droplet. This card is insane. I wish I played. I wish I had space for 3 in the deck, but you can. Forbidden Droplet is just insane. So for those of you who don't know what it does, you can send cards from your deck to from your hand field to the graveyard to negate that many monsters' effects and have their attack. But your opponent cannot respond with the same type of cards, so spell trap, monster effect that you sent to the graveyard. So a lot of the times this is stopping those things that just stop you from playing, like stopping sights, stopping whatever, stopping all the stuff, and it has some really cool interactions. Especially with heroes, especially with heroes, but if your opponent responds with something, negates your, say, Stratos, then you can Droplet, send the Stratos to still get your search, or if you have like a Vion, you can, and you have mass change on the field, for example, you can mass change your Vion, send the mass change, which you can do because why wouldn't you be able to do that? It's just not broken enough. You can do that, and it stops stops your opponent's effect, and you still get your mass change, which is cool. Then 3 mass change because Dark Law is insane. Dark Law is not as good as I thought it would be in this format. But it's still it wins you the game against like every rogue deck. It wins you a game against a lot of decks. And it hurts a lot of decks a lot more. The only thing is I ran into a lot of Sword Soul at this regionals, and Dark Law does barely anything against the Sword Soul deck apparently, which I didn't know until like recently because I only play at locals. This was my first event, and I was like, well, it was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun. 1 emergency call because I honestly the emergency call most of the time is just extra stuff. It's not usually a play starter. I might even, if I had to cut anything, I would probably cut the emergency call just because Rhoda is more versatile. It searches your Destiny heroes as well as your Vision heroes, whereas emergency call only searches Stratos, Shadow Mist, and Liquid Soldier, although it does search Honest Neos, which is pretty cool. A lot of people don't know that because it's add 1 elemental hero. It doesn't say a level. But honestly, it's really good. It's really good, but a lot of times you just want it to be another card. So if I were to cut anything, it's a 43 card deck. I don't like playing 40 card decks just because I feel like it makes me see my increase a lot more. But that's just me. That's just something I have. If you want to play 40 card decks, go play 40 card decks. I don't know. And okay. Anyway, next is Polymerization because you can search it, and because Polymerization's a good. You're a fusion deck. You want to use it. 1 Dark Calling to get into the Bane. You search this off Dusted Gold. Then something that a lot of people, I haven't seen a lot in hero decks, Pot of Prosperity. So the reason I play Pot of Prosperity is because I found that a lot of the times you want to dig for the cards that let you play, whether it be droplets, whether it be crossout, whether it be whatever, because this deck hard loses to so many flipping cards. Holy crap. Also, during the regionals, if you want to play competitively, I recommend playing Lancia instead of something, just because a lot of people are using Lancia, and I don't know, it helped me a lot during the regionals. But either way, Product Prosperity, it gets you into, if you don't have any starters, it gets you into your starters, it gets you into your extenders, it gets you into Fusion Destiny, it gets you into Crossout, it gets you into stuff that you need. And usually this is a going first build of heroes, so usually you don't care if you do half damage or if you can't draw cards, because you're not using Liquid Soldier every turn, because you're not going in for battle most of the time. And it's a good way to get back into the game if you want to get rid of cards that you don't need in your extra deck. It's just, I found it to be very effective, and I found it to be very good. 1 Miracle Fusion. So I am playing the Sunrise and Absolute Zero package for the reasons I said, because it's really good. So the thing about heroes, one thing that I found during the time that I've been playing this deck, is that it has very few things that it can do. It can do the Sunrise Absolute Zero play, it can do Plasma, it can do Dark Law, it can do Bane, and it can do DPE. Usually you're going to use two of those in your first turn. Usually it's either going to be Plasma and DPE, or Plasma and and DPE and Dark Law. And a lot of the times your opponent's going to clear those and have a way to get rid of DPE. So with that, you're left with, if you're not playing the Absolute Zero Sunrise thing, you're left with Bane, and you're left with either Plasma or Dark Law. Dark Law is very hard to get on the field because Mass Change is, let's be honest, it might as well not be searchable, because when do you ever summon Shadow Mist, like special summon Shadow Mist, besides Solid Soldier, which I'm not playing because it is a bad card, and Liquid Soldier, which you don't always resolve, and Plasma is hard to get on the field because you have to get 3 monsters on the field, and usually your opponent has interruptions. So it's like coming back into the game, you're not going to get into that very often. Usually it's just Bane because you can get it off of one search. So having the added just boost, like, of having an extra option just by fusion summoning, getting back your fusion, and or like you probably haven't even used fusion, like the polymerization, because you used fusion destiny. Just getting that and getting the Liquid Soldier and making Sunrise and Absolute Zero and going for the OTK, it's really useful. And you could use it as a resource engine, because every time, like I said, every time it's used as fusion material, you can draw 2, discard. Every time Liquid Soldier is used as fusion material, you can draw 2, discard 1, and you can, that's once per turn, but you can use the poly, get the Sunrise out, and then keep the Miracle Fusion in hand for the next turn, and then bam, there it is, and you draw 2, discard 1. It gets you deeper into your deck, it gets you more options, it gets you everything you want. And then 1 reinforcement of the army. This searches basically your whole deck, everything you would want to search by the anyway. It searches Vion, it searches Stratos, it searches your Destiny hero Denier, which a lot of the time you want to see in your hand. It's funny because it's a one of, but it's a one of because you can only use its effect once per turn, and what the other one is once per duel. So what the hell? But yeah, Road is really good. It's at 1, so that's why we're playing 1. 3, Crossout. So this, I think, is necessary in Heroes right now, because literally every hand trap that everyone is playing just kills us. Holy crap. You Ashlar Fusion Destiny, we're left, like, you Ashlar increase, we're like, yeah, if you don't have Fusion Destiny, what you gonna do? You Ghost Ogre increase, Vion, Cross Crusader, what you gonna do? What's it called? Ghost Spell the Cross Crusader if you don't have any follow-up or any way to get, if you already used your Malicious or whatever, if you're bare bones doing anything, you lose the game. If they Lancia you, you can't use Malicious, you can't use Vion, what you gonna do? If they Scythe you, and then it's like, haha, no. So cross out, and if they Nibiru you, well, we all know the relationship hero players have with Nibiru now, don't we? Now we can just chain DPE and pop 2 of our cards and you know, have DPE next turn, but usually people can get over DPE, so you just lose. So I think Crossout is necessary in this deck. I think, and I think it's seeing a lot of rise in popularity, especially because you can cross out Fusion Destiny a lot of the time, and that's pretty good. Anyway, but that's why I'm playing it. That's why I think Crossout is necessary. You might disagree with me, and if you do, that's fine. That's just what I think. You don't have to think the same thing. We can all be hero players in different ways. Then 2, A Hero Lives. This card's at 2. Fine. If it comes to 3 on the next battle list, I'm going to be very happy. Although I'll need to get another LT, and it'll probably be more expensive, which sucks. But yeah, this is how I live my life. Bad decisions and spending money on cardboard. But A Hero Lives, very good. Gets your Dark Claw, gets you starter if you don't have one. Very good. Then Fusion Destiny, probably the best starter in the deck now. I have an ulti, I got this. It was really cool. And then this one's normal, but it's fine. Fusion Destiny, you basically start your game with this one card. You get a DPE and a Plasma, or if you have Mass Change, you can stop DPE, just Reborn Malicious, and save everything for next turn, and just end on Dark Law, which is what I did a lot of the time, because it makes it so you don't die to Nibiru, which is really cool, because Nibiru is a cancerous card. Anyway, it's not. It's an okay card. I'm just upset because I've lost to it so many times, man. Holy crap. Before DPE, it was literally set up your board, Nibiru. I'm like, yeah, I lose. And then for the one trap in the deck, literally for a cross-out target, infinite impermanence because a lot of people are using imperm right now. And if they imperm the wrong thing in your or the right thing, I guess, the wrong thing for you, the right thing for them. If they imperm the right thing, you're kind of screwed. But yeah, so that's it for the main deck. I'll do combos in a bit. Actually, I think I'll do combos in a different video. So for now, we'll do the deck profile. I'll do combos maybe, like again, in between, just because this is for, like, I'll do Master Duel and, like, fighters and stuff, but I feel like this is going to be for a different type of people, and that's fine. I'll do these Yu-Gi-Oh videos once in a while, but whatever. Then let's go to the extra deck. 2 Cross Crusader, because this is the best extender, and it's what gets you to your plays. It gets you Denier back on the field, which gets your Malicious back into the deck, and you can use it for Poly if you didn't have a way to get it. If you didn't have a Fusion Destiny, it gets you your Malicious and your Denier on field, and the Shuffle back, which gets you extension for the next turn. It's really good. The only thing is that I recently found out you can't summon heroes for the whole turn, not even just before, like after the whole turn, or you can't flip it. Is it summon? Yeah. So you can't activate his effect, which is just stupid. But like, it's like, you know what? We're gonna give heroes players something, but then we're gonna like make it just like bad enough so that it doesn't impact like anything. And it's like fine. Heroes had their time a lot of times before, but you know what? I'd wish it could come again. 1 Dread Decimator, because it does come up sometimes. Honestly, if you're gonna switch anything out, like if you want to play the what's it called? Trinity or whatever. Like any of those cards, any more Miracle Fusion targets, any more Destiny Fusion Destiny targets, I would take out the Dread Decimator, because this card is usually, it gets you to OTK very easily, which is because usually you're dumping like 7 or 8 heroes into your graveyard, which combined with DP is actually a substantial amount, because you gain 700 or 800 and they lose like 1600. So it's actually a very big difference. And it just helps get to OTK so much. That's why I play this. In the regionals, I actually played Access Code Talker instead of one of these cards, and I actually really regret it because it never came up, and I wanted that other card that I replaced for it so much more. But Dread Decimator, not a good card, but it does come up. 1 Wonder Driver. This is actually, it actually came up more than I thought it would. Just getting your Poly back is really important. A lot of not really important, but some of the time it wins games. Just because you have that recursion to get into your other lines of play, and just, it's really good. I wouldn't cut this for anything. I think this is important in the deck. It's not the best card, but it does what it meant, what it's supposed to. Then 1 Verte Anaconda, oh my goodness, just because if you have no other line of play, you can get 2 monsters on the field without Ferris fairly easily. Although Ferris locks you out of this, which is, it's not necessary in the deck, but it's nice to have. And then 1 Master Hero Acid. Honestly, I just send this off Prosperity most of the time. There are, so a lot of the things that I send off Prosperity are this, and I'll tell you the card when it comes up. But I usually send Anaconda Acid. It's just, if you don't have Prosperity, these cards can come up, and it's really helpful when they do, because if you have a Mass Chains and Absolute Zero on the field, or Mass Chains and Liquid Soldier, people forget that. This comes up, especially while I'll let you skill drains and whatever, not skill drains, but one interaction that I really liked that I did during the regional is I summoned Acid, activated his effect. He had skill drain on the field, but then I activated Forbidden Droplet to get the card off the field, so it resolved in the graveyard, and he blew up his back row, and I won, which was really cool. But yeah, that was fun. Then 2 Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. You can run Dystopia instead of. I'll go over the how to save money on the deck if you don't have all the cards. I'll pull up all the cards that you can replace. Obviously, you can just play the normal versions of cards. I have all the shiny cards because I get lucky and because I have a lot of trade value. But 2 Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. This is the card that I replaced for the Access Code. Access Code was really bad in Heroes. I didn't know that. I was just like, you know what, I'm going to try it, and it didn't work out. The reason you play two, the reason I play two at least, you don't have to. Like a lot of people say, play one, you don't need to. Everyone is ready for this card. Everyone knows how to get rid of it, and everyone will try to get rid of it, and everyone will get rid of it. So once you lose your first copy of DP because it is banished, because it is on their side of the field with Dark, you can actually make the second copy of DP, whether it be with Verte or whether it be with Fusion Destiny or even with Poly. So most of the time, if you don't go into your Plasma, or if you still have a Malicious in deck, which a lot of the time you do, just because of the follow-up, just because of all the things you can do with the deck now, and you have the Honest Neos in deck, you can make the second copy of Phoenix Enforcer, again, with Verte, with Fusion Destiny, or with Poly if you have both of them, if you happen to have both of them in hand. And people don't expect it at all. And it's this didn't come up in regionals because I took it out, but at locals it's actually won me a few games just because people aren't ready to deal with two, and people can't deal with two most of the time. Then we have the Liquid Soldier and the Absolute Zero. So I already told you why these are in here. It's also, this was the main line of play on Heroes had beforehand. And, you know, like, it's, as a backup plan, it's not really that bad, specifically because they have so much attack and because of what they do. This is a Raigeki, and it could be a Harpy's Feather Duster if you, why is this on my card? Because whatever, and, then Sunrise, Sunrise just does things. Sunrise searches you Miracle Fusion and gives you attack. What else could you want? One Bane, because I already explained why this is good, but yeah, Bane's fun. Then two Darklaw. I got a shiny one. This is probably my favorite card that I own, but I got it when it was cheap. So anyway, Darklaw is an auto win against a lot of decks. It's an auto win against Eldritch if they don't have skill drain on the field, which is funny because it's so funny. Or if they don't have like the elixir or whatever, then they're kind of. Or if you have a way to get rid of the elixir, like a Ash, which you happen to play, and with Bell or whatever, which is why I played two. Like Anyway, Darklaw is insane. It's a macrocosmos for your opponent only. And when they search, you get to discard a card from their hand, which is really cool, and it's just mass change. Then Anki. This is another card that you can switch out for anything you want. I play it because it comes up sometimes. Just that 2800 attack just comes up a lot. And because you can just banish off Prosperity and you won't really miss it ever. Then Masteroblast. Masteroblast is another card that you don't... It's good because you can mass change into it and dodge negate on Stratos, but most of the time they're ashing you Stratos, so it's not really always. This is another thing you can send with Prosperity if you don't see it coming up, which a lot of the time it doesn't. But yeah, you can switch this for other stuff, but what it does is when it's summoned, it has someone's attack, and you can bounce back a spell trap on your opponent's field. Okay, so let's go through the cards that you can replace. So right now, Bane is cheap. Right now, DPE is expensive. You can replace DPE with Destiny Hero Dystopia because it uses basically the same materials and honestly better materials because it's two Destiny Heroes. So honestly, not better. This is better because you could use Honest Neos for it. So you can replace, honestly, just play one Dystopia and play one Dangerous, and it would, if you want to play the budget version of Heroes, that's the way to do it, because you can still get the Fusion Destiny off and do all that extension with Plasma and with Darklaw and whatever. You can still get the same combo, except instead of DP, you're going to have Dystopia. And honestly, if you play the Dystopia and the Dangerous package, I recommend doing not Celestial, what was it? Dynatag, which boosts attack just so you get the pop. And it's not a recursive pop. DPE is definitely a lot better, but if you don't have the money for it, which I understand if you don't, because Heroes is stupid expensive for no reason. Because this deck isn't even good, man. This deck isn't even good. It's just people. I am one of the people who I think Heroes is okay. But it's not insane, you know? It's not like, holy crap, what the hell? It's just okay. But it's super expensive for no reason. well, it's going to be a lot less expensive with Ghosts from the Past. But anyway, Crossout, you can literally just take these out and run more hand traps, or run different hand traps. Like maybe run Xenobu on the side, put more Ashes, put more Bells in, put more Ghost Tokens in, whatever. Like, you don't need to play that. That's another expensive card you can just take out. Because I know this rose in price a bit, but so you don't need this. It's just whatever. Like, I like playing it because if you want to play competitively, you kind of need to. Just because of all the hand traps that people are running kill this deck. Because why? Why wouldn't they? Then what else? Prosperity. You don't need to play Prosperity. Prosperity, I think, is a good inclusion in the deck, but it's not necessary. And I don't think the deck can play any other draw cards. Maybe Avarice, maybe Pot of Avarice, but at the end, that's just a win more card. It gets you back into games, but it doesn't help in the way that Prosperity does. So you can take this out and maybe, again, run more hand traps or just cut it down to 40 cards, whatever. Then other expensive cards, let's see here. Droplet. Droplet, honestly, run any other hand trap. Run Chalice if you have it. Run it, maybe, yeah, run Chalice. I just play Droplet because it's insane. The interactions you can do with this and the things you can do in this deck with this. Just because Malicious gets effects off discard, Shadow Mist gets effect off discard, Denier gets a lot of stuff off discard. Like, he gets more. You can bring him out easier when he's in the grave than when he's in your hand, which is just weird. But and Droplet gets all those things, especially when you're going second. This just helps you so much. But if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. That's just how it works. That's Ashes. They're like $30, but honestly, again, some of the cheaper hand traps, just run Chalice, run just run Dimensional Barrier, even just cheap cards that you can get that stop your opponent from playing. Just use those. It doesn't matter. A Dust of Gold's like $10 now, so it's not really expensive anymore. And yeah, that's the deck profile. I hope it helps someone. I hope someone who's looking to get into Heroes and thinks like, yeah, I want to play this competitively, likes this build, thinks it's pretty cool, and I thought it was pretty cool. This is more optimized, although I might replace the second Ash for a Lancia if I were to go competitive to the competitive whatever. And but yeah, definitely play. Or what you could do is going first. You could just fear nothing and go for the full play, not playing cross out, and then side deck the cross out and do whatever. But honestly, that's the deck. That's how I like to run it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you think like, wow, that's really cool. I might try to run that. That'd be cool. Hopefully someone on the channel enjoyed it. And if you didn't, well, I'm sorry. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, maybe even subscribe. And if you want, ring the notification bell for more videos. And I'll try to do maybe a live twin profile soon. And more definitely combos for the deck. But yeah, I'll do that. They won't be in my regular upload slots just because, it's a fighters channel. I'm just doing Yu-Gi-Oh because I love the game, man. It makes me really happy, and I thought like, hey, why not share it with the YouTube channel? So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys later.